What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes from Mike on the Mic. I'm sitting here today with Chicago Cubs top prospect Kohl Franklin, one of the best in the business. Happy to have you be here. It's an honor, man. How's everything going for you?
It's going good, yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm just going to be quite honest with you. I want to know the answer. I want to know what's been going on with you. It was one of the weirdest MLB seasons to date, probably in the history of ever. With the pandemic, COVID-19. I was talking to Brennan Davis last week about him going to Site B. I wanted to ask you, I didn't get to hear. No one really mentioned it. What happened with you during the pandemic? How did you stay fit? How did you continue to develop even without a full major league season?
So yeah, I wasn't fortunate to go to the Site B, so I kind of was able to kind of do my own thing. And one thing that really helped me was I had one of my best friends who got drafted by the Nationals in 20, last year, who was a first rounder for the Nationals, and he was with me. And so me and him trained pretty hard together. We would throw bullpens together, throw live VPs together. So we were always pushing each other. And so I would really the Cubs would kind of give us like a throwing program and like a bullpen day / like live VP day.
Right.
And so we pretty much just follow those to a T. So like every fifth day I was either throwing against hitters or just throwing like competitive bullpens, like 5 or 6 innings. And I guess one of the biggest things that like helped me a lot was kind of getting more like one-on-one and really like hands-on learning with my curveball,
Right.
which I think helped me a ton with my curveball, just kind of getting it more consistent. But overall, dude, it was so weird. It was so weird, like having to throw bullpens pretty much as a season. It was different, like not having that fan interaction, not having really that much adrenaline going into it. But overall, like I would say, I got my work in for sure, and I'm kind of happy I did because I feel like it kind of sets you apart from a lot of people.
Right, man. And I totally agree with you. And that was a big reason why I wanted to have you on here. I've been following you for a while now. I noticed that no one works harder, trains harder than you compared to a lot of other people in the game right now. And I guess that a big part of my next question I wanted to ask you was, every pitcher, and I feel like maybe it's just me, I'm biased. I feel like pitchers have the most to work on in the off season. Every year it's something new, it's something different compared to every other position in the game. For you, like you mentioned your curveball, was that what you decided to work on the most this offseason, or what mechanics were you really focused on?
I would say I was kind of more focused on like strengthening, like just getting stronger in every like pretty much aspect of the game, like as in like putting on weight, as in like strengthening my shoulder for like just injury prevention. And then I would say that's my first one. I would say definitely curveball would be second, just because the fact that that was kind of like I pretty much had 2 pitches going like after out of the draft,
Right.
and so really continuously getting my curveball better was a big part of it for me.
Definitely. A follow-up question I wanted to ask you. So I don't know if it really makes a difference for you or not, but like my thinking is you really didn't have a full season last year to really get to know guys, get to learn guys, and watch tape on anybody. So going into this season, how are you going up against for at-bats and having approaches when facing top competitors in the minors? What is your thinking process through that? Or do you kind of just have to wing it and learn as you go?
Most of the time, like usually we get like a like pretty much like a stat sheet and watch some videos on some dudes like right before the game. You don't really learn that much about them until like the day you start. Right. But like I've kind of had like I don't really care who I face. Like that's kind of how I go about it. Like it doesn't matter to me. I'm not gonna change the way I pitch at guys. I'm still gonna go after dudes. I'm not gonna pitch around anybody. And so I mean but it for sure helps. Like one of the biggest things I look at is like, are they a big first pitch swinger? So if I'm gonna have to pitch backwards to them and just stuff like that was the main thing I looked at, like especially in Eugene, where like how active were they at the plate? Were they on the plate? Were they off? And that's pretty much like the biggest thing I look at when I'm kind of doing my scouting report.
Definitely. And you mentioned Eugene, and I know a lot of people don't know about all that and how the minor leagues really work. But I wanted to ask you, like I was talking to Brennan Davis. He did mention he roomed with you for a little bit. I was wondering and with a team, what really makes a team, I feel like, is having that camaraderie, having a relationship with everybody. Who are people so far that you feel like that's my boy going into the season, and I have the strongest relationship with them so far?
Honestly, I feel like that with a couple of dudes. I would say definitely Brennan. I've known Brennan the longest, and like me and him are best friends. Ryan Jensen, Cole Rhodes, and I'd say Cam Sanders.
Definitely, all great guys.
We have a pretty tight knit group, and so yeah, I would say those dudes are definitely like my best friends and dudes like I lean upon.
Love that. Love that. So I also did want to ask you, I know you were a Sooner for a short period of time, and that's amazing. I'm a big fan of Sooners. But then you went straight to the Cubs. And I wanted to ask you, with such a historic franchise, the 108 years, the fans stayed loyal. When you enter a big ballpark like Wrigley Field and you're going to be a part of that camaraderie, what do you really feel like? Like, what was it like being drafted that night? What was your initial thoughts? Obviously, other than I'm going to be in the MLB.
Yeah. It was pretty breathtaking just because of the fact that when I grew up playing baseball, I just had fun with it, and then I kind of started realizing slowly this could actually be a career for me. And it's just a blessing to because there's so many people who play baseball and so many people don't get the chance to play at the next level, and so it was pretty much like a dream come true, and especially being drafted by the Cubs. They're such it's a historical organization. Like everyone knows the Chicago Cubs, and
Right.
being selected by them and kind of getting to know everything about it, everything about the organization really kind of just opened my eyes to how great the people were, how great everyone in the front office is, how great our area scouts were. And that was the biggest thing that I was just like, dude, I couldn't have been put in a better spot.
Definitely. That's an amazing answer. And you mentioned the front office, and I know there's not a lot you can talk about. There's not a lot you can speak about on everything going around with the changing of management and everything. But I wanted to ask you, with guys like Lester, Quintana, Darvish all leaving, and there seems to be a few slots available looking into the future, not just only this year, but into the future, like with you and Adbert and Braylon and so many others. Does that change your perspective on this season? Does that change your mentality on how you're going to approach the year, or is it same year, different day? You know what I mean? Is it like that same approach?
Yeah, I would say I say the same approach, dude. I don't really think of something and be like, oh my god, I gotta do this better, because I don't like putting just pressure that doesn't need to be on myself. I don't like putting pressure on myself. I just go out there and I do what kind of got me to this level, and I kind of just I trust my coaches, my teammates, and so I stay the same. I just like approaching batters. I'll just go straight at them. I don't give the batter any type of credit, and that's just how I pitch, and that's how I look at the game.
Definitely, definitely. And you mentioned the coaches, and I feel like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like minor league coaches do not get the respect they deserve. The scouting department does not get the respect they deserve. So far, who are some of the coaches? Now, you don't have to name specifically if you don't want to, but some coaches that have really helped you get to that next level, who have helped you develop new skills in the minors.
Dude, I got a lot, man. It's hard to give credit to all of them, but I would say my Eugene pitching coach Gabby, he was unbelievable, dude. He's the best dude ever. Carlos Chantres, he's our I forgot what he's I think he's our pitching coordinator for for the lower levels, I think. And he's an unbelievable dude. And me and him talk we're good friends. And I would say, Matt Dory, Jason
Right.
Powell, there's so many dudes like that, that. I can't even begin to start to where I can even thank them for the opportunity that I have today. Ty Nichols, my area scout. It's dudes who took chances on me and want to see me succeed. So I want to pay them that back for sure.
Definitely, definitely. And to add to that, I also wanted to ask you something about, if you were to come up, and I'm not saying, we don't know what the future holds, but your stuff's looking really good. So we could see you from any time from this year to the next 3 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, we don't know who's exactly going to be on the roster, but if the roster was the same as it is the day you come up, who's somebody you're most excited to play with, to meet, to have a conversation with in the league right now?
Man. It's hard to say. It's hard to say no to Chris Bryant and Javi Baez just because the fact that I feel like they're the two main faces of kind of the Cubs. But I would say Wilson Contreras would be a really cool one to just kind of pick his brain about how all the guys that he's caught and how he reads batters in the box. And so I'd have to say probably Wilson Contreras.
Definitely. That's awesome. So I don't want to keep you too long today. I know you're a busy man. I just want to ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah, we're good, dude.
Second question I want to ask you is, so really, what is your main goal going into 2021? Obviously, it's always to get better. It's always to continue to develop. But what is Kohl Franklin's number one goal of the year?
I would say I have two really big goals. I would say one is making the futures game. I think that'd be really cool.
Definitely.
And I think two is just kind of being able to make smaller misses in the zone, not and just kind of like tunnel all my pitches out of the same, and just really focus on getting good misses, quality misses over big misses, and giving up big mistakes.
Right. I guess I'll leave to the final question for you. And I know everybody knows Kohl Franklin. Everybody knows the minor league guys. They remember the names, but they don't really know a lot about you guys. I just wanted to ask you, pregame meals, what's your favorite music, things like that, things that interest Kohl Franklin. If we want to know Kohl Franklin, what is the most important things we need to know about you?
Oh man, pregame meal in Eugene. Me, Ryan Jensen, and like Riley McCauley, a couple dudes, and we'd always go to Chipotle. I'd go to Chipotle before every single start, and I'd get a chicken quesadilla with queso and chips, and I'd get a Coke because I absolutely love Coke. So eat that and do literally like after I get to the field, I pretty much like on the days that I start, I really keep to myself. I don't really talk to that many people that much. I have my AirPods in, dude. And I'm a big rap fan, and so listen like Lil Baby, Gunna, Polo G, like all those dudes. And so like
I've watched your Instagram lives. I've seen a couple of them. It's fire. The playlist is fire.
I appreciate it. I take pride in my music, in my rap music at least. But I really like. I would say probably 2 hours leading up to my start. I don't talk to anybody. I'll go in the training room, just listen to music, start stretching out, and because I feel like that it's like that time where I really start like processing everything and like start viewing myself in my head going out there and being successful. And I think that's what has really helped me is kind of the mental side of the game, and kind of just preparing myself to go out there and be successful, and not having any doubt when I'm on the mound, and never thinking anything bad is going to happen on the mound, and always having a positive attitude about what you're going to go out there and do. But yeah, I mean, I'm talking like I'm on my own when I start day.
And I guess I could also ask you, so without having fans this year, which it looks like we probably won't, but depending on that, does that make any difference to you? Do you think it's going to be a little awkward? We noticed that some guys, they get in their own head a lot, because there's no fans, you have the crowd to listen to. Does that change your approach on anything? Or because like you said, you like to just zone in, and just focus on your game. Does that do anything for you?
I mean, it does, just because of the fact I kind of like the adrenaline I get from like the crowd.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't really think it'll affect me that much, but dude, I think that adrenaline is like that you get from like having crowds in the stands. You can't explain it. But I mean, overall, no, I don't think it'll affect me. But I just crave that feeling. But I don't think it'll affect me, no.
All right. Well, thank you for being a guest on the show today. I don't want to keep you too long. Everybody, this is Kohl Franklin, the future of the Chicago Cubs. It has been an honor. If you ever want to come back, you're always more than welcome. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely, my man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.